In the peaceful suburbs of Riverside, Oregon, one man's driveway sparked a neighborhood revolution. What began as a petty feud over parking turned into a viral symbol of suburban resistance. This is the true story of Elliot Crane, his eccentric neighbor, and the rotating turntable that silenced the HOA queen without breaking a single rule. My name is Elliot Crane. I'm a freelance graphic designer, a husband, a coffee addict, and up until recently, a reluctant local celebrity. I live in Riverside, Oregon, a suburb where lawns are trimmed, mailboxes match, and passive aggression is practically a community sport. For a while, life was quiet, not perfect, but manageable. That was until we moved in next to Maureen Fisk. You'd think a 70-year-old widow with a garden of daffodils and a porch full of wind chimes would be harmless. But Maureen wasn't your average retiree. She was HOA royalty, self-appointed guardian of neighborhood standards, and a firm believer that control equals order. Her gaze could cut through concrete, and her complaints came laminated. It started with a parking dispute. My car was fully on my driveway, 6 inches from her fence. She stormed out in a floral sundress, demanding I move it because the shadow from your tire is disturbing the photosynthesis of my daffodils between 8 and 8:15. That's a real quote. I checked the timestamp. That was round 1. Over the next few months, I became the villain in her drama. She filed 3 HOA complaints, one over the direction my side mirror was facing. She once slid a note under my door with bullet points, diagrams, and a theory that my car's color was leaching joy from her plants. I tried being polite. I tried ignoring her, but it wasn't just me. My wife Sarah, ever the peacemaker, brought over cookies once. Maureen accused her of emotional bribery. My neighbor Tom said she once told his dog it was barking with too much hostility. And then one day, after she called the police, non-emergency line again, I lost sleep. I was up at 2 in the morning, staring at my screen with bleary eyes, typing into Google suburban petty revenge. Somewhere between a Reddit thread and an industrial design forum, I saw a rotating driveway turntable. The idea was ridiculous, brilliant, beautiful. I reached out. Barry from Spin Masters USA returned my email in 10 minutes. He showed up 2 days later in a lime green van, blasting 80s synth pop, and wearing cargo shorts in the rain. He took one look at Maureen's garden gnomes and said, "Karen neighbor," I nodded. "Say no more." The turntable wasn't cheap. The first quote was $75,000. I nearly choked on my cold brew. But by then, it wasn't about cost. It was about reclaiming space, dignity, and a tiny slice of peace. I cashed out some crypto. Sarah, surprisingly, was all in. "If it brings you joy and stops the rants, I support it," she said. Of course. Maureen caught wind. She stormed into the HOA board meeting and declared I was building a military-grade underground installation. She claimed the glare from the platform would weaponize sunlight. She handed out photocopied petitions, stood outside with a handmade sign, and even claimed my turntable had disrupted the migration pattern of local birds. Legally, I was airtight. Every permit approved, every inspection passed. The contractor was licensed, the structure safe. Still, Maureen called the cops twice, both times. They left with apologetic looks and told her to stop misusing emergency lines. The installation took a week. The neighborhood watched from behind blinds. Some looked curious, others amused. And when it was done, I invited Barry to the block party. That's when everything changed. Hot dog in one hand, torque wrench in the other. Barry narrated the first public spin. I stepped onto the platform, gave a half-theatrical bow, and turned my car a full 180 degrees like a Broadway set change. People clapped, laughed. Someone filmed it. Maureen came stomping over, shouting about property values. But Tom, our neighbor across the street, cut her off. Actually, he said, "Zillow says his home value just went up." That silenced her for about an hour. The next morning, I parked exactly how she always hated, but instead of facing her yard, I hit the button and rotated the car so the passenger side faced our house. A passive-aggressive masterpiece. Maureen watched from her porch. Expression unreadable. And for once, there was silence. Until the email came. A local real estate blogger reached out. Someone had posted drone footage of my rotating driveway. It hit TikTok. Within days, Barry had 14 new orders. A producer for a reality show about suburban showdowns wanted to feature me. I politely declined. But the attention didn't stop. Then came the twist. I didn't expect. Others in the neighborhood started opening up. Quietly. People admitted they were tired of Maureen's reign, that they'd received her laminated letters, her threats of fines, her demands to remove welcome mats that didn't match. Riley, one of the younger HOA board members, asked to meet. Over coffee, he told me there was talk of a vote to revise the bylaws and restructure the board. You started something. He said, maybe you didn't mean to, but people feel braver now. Within 2 months, it happened. The bylaws were updated. HOA leadership changed. Maureen's influence vanished. She still lived next door, still complained. But the board stopped listening. So did the police. Even her sourdough starter blog lost followers. After she claimed my sunflowers gave off spiteful energy, I started calling the platform the petty spin of peace. Every morning, I press the button like a ritual. Barry swings by once a month to oil the gears and bring gossip. Sarah and I sit on the porch, lemonade in hand, watching the driveway do its slow, elegant turn. Occasionally, kids from down the block come watch like it's a theme park ride. Maureen still scowls, but it doesn't sting anymore. Sometimes, she mutters about filing a complaint, but now, her voice carries less weight than a plastic lawn flamingo. This wasn't just about a car. It never was. It was about space, about people who think rules are weapons and that control equals power. But neighborhoods are meant to be lived in, not ruled. And the best part, I never raised my voice. I never broke a rule. I just rotated with the madness and let my driveway do the talking.